Hey, Dave, you can have it. It's yours. Man, this is like a 90s kids movie ass soundtrack, huh? You just listen to it by itself. Or actually kind of it actually reminds me of Stargate a little bit. Okay, you watched it Friday. Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying that you watched it Friday and then also you're not sure if you watched it all the way through. I was so confused. Now I now I get it. Now I get it. Start gate. No, you typed fine. I read bad. How are you? How are you? That's a different kind of enjoyers community. If I would enjoy it more if I could have my full resolution. But we know how that went. Although to be honest, it doesn't seem like scaling is great in either Xorg or Wayland. Or maybe I or maybe it was fine in Xorg actually. I need to write stuff down. I don't remember what was good and what was bad.
Go fucking play Bionicle. We don't have anything else to say about this shit.
Oh, BFA, thank you for 123 months. Very much appreciated. I have the music turned down, but I feel like it's loud, but just let me know. Let me know if I need to turn it down further. Ooh, that's cool, BFA. Uh Enjoyers is more to the act than the actual thing. So yes, I don't think we should have a requirement that everybody has to love the thing we're talking about. Because I'll tell you what, I also feel like the 13th floor is just okay. I I had seen it before. When I dove in, I realized, oh yeah, I've seen this before. And I watched it through, and I was like, it's all right. Yeah, the concepts stuff is fine. But before we start getting into details, let's kind of do some intro stuff here. Actually, why don't we start off with the trailer?
The 13th floor. Rated
Oh man, that was extremely 90s. And it made it seem so much better than it was.
The 13th floor. Rated R.
Also, the music really amped it up a lot more than the movie. The movie has a kind of a plodding pace. It's not really a wild action film. I mean, that's how trailers were in 1999. Yeah, this is a spoilers are free zone, which means that you're going to get spoilers for free. There was, I think, I don't know if this is still the case, but I'm pretty sure in the 90s there was actually kind of a jockeying to get the R rating because it was like, oh, this is a edgy adult film, right? I feel like that was a thing. Anonymous, thank you
Yeah.
for the gift sub to pub. Pubs. But yeah, it's kind of a film on a theme that was popular towards the end of the 90s of like actually throughout the 90s there was a lot of cyber virtual reality exploration type movies. And obviously this would have been in competition with something like The Matrix, which is absolutely not a fair fight. Why is it called that, by the way? Well, because 13 is a cool number. And then the contrivance is that their whole world is on the 13th floor of this building. You still have not seen The Matrix. It's probably not gonna. It's probably not gonna hit as well today as it did in the '90s. Yeah, I think you. I think you might be right, Dave. I haven't watched The Matrix in a while. Maybe I should do a rewatch. The thing is I feel like I will be tired of it when I go back to it. I think I've had all the Matrix that I needed to have in my life, most likely. I don't know if they have trivia, but that is why I'm here. I brought up Wikipedia, IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes so we could dig around a little bit while we talk about the 13th floor. This guy,
And that's why I don't like the Renaissance Fair.
Vincent D'Onofrio. This guy. DJ QJ, thank you for 93 months. But yeah, so, my feelings on it were that it was okay. It was kind of a middling movie. It was sort of interesting. It was very predictable. But again, I think I've seen it in the past. So I think I've seen it twice total now. I don't think I would go back unless I don't know. I just had nothing else to watch, maybe. I wouldn't hate watching it, but I don't know that I would. Well, that's weird. That's weird. Did it play the trailer 13 times and then switch to something else? What's going on here? Um, the romance was weird because I agree with this because there was really no. It was just out of nowhere. But I guess story wise, it sort of makes sense. Sort of. It's it's still not very strong, but basically, from her perspective, she already knew him, and I guess from his perspective, uh, I don't even know any port in a storm. Like there was no build up to that from his end of it at all that you could explain with anything. But I think ultimately it just doesn't work as film romance even if you can explain some of it. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna make comparisons to Existenz I think is just a better movie in many regards. There is a weird quality to Existenz where it feels almost like a homemade film. So it definitely lacks some of the polish, I guess. But I honestly would trade polish for a more interesting movie, which Existenz definitely is. You know, Existenz is fucking weird, and I just that's valuable to me. Weird is usually pretty good. It's unusual. 13th floor didn't feel super unique. I don't know exactly why. I can't think of an exactly the same story, but like there's a lot of similar stuff. Existence is definitely too weird for most people, I would say. But this is definitely a 90s thing, I think. I think there's a it seems like, and I haven't like done research here, so I could be totally wrong. But it seems like there's a real load of films and media in general in the 90s that's basically about questioning your reality. And in fact, I think a number of the Enjoyers Committee films that we have mentioned possibly doing essentially all fall into that. But like, let's just think about it for a second, because what there's The Matrix, obviously. Um, I've jumped ahead. I already watched Dark City. I think that was actually my first watch of that film. I wasn't sure if I had seen it, but I watched it, and Dark City definitely falls into that. Obviously, Existence falls into that. And I know quite a lot more do. I don't know. I don't have them all in my head right now. Oh yeah, I think Virtuosity and Lawnmower Man are kind of in the same territory, not fully. Jacob's Ladder is another one, yeah. I will say these last three here are like a little bit different from the first three. Not quite the same sort of concept of like literally it's a world within a world kind of thing or whatever. The Cube. Man, The Cube. I actually rewatched The Cube not too long ago. I think I did. Do I have The Cube? What? Why is it? There's a show? I do have the film. Yeah, Jacob's Ladder is a rough watch. It is one of the inspirations for Silent Hill, though, as a point of interest. In fact, I think there are scattered references in the games to Jacob's Ladder here and there. Actually, I know there are. Why don't we check out some trivia? Do they have trivia? Did you know? Do they not have like a whole separate... Oh, they do. Here we go. Trivia. Let's see if any of these are interesting. Douglas Hall's house has been seen before in several other science fiction films as the exterior Detective Deckard's apartment building in Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. Really? And several years later as the apartment of a drug lord in Predator 2. Located in the affluent Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles, the home is known as the Enos Brown House and was designed by legendary architect Frank Lloyd Wright. Huh. That's wild. I'll be real, I didn't pay that much attention to the house. Guess I should have. Okay, this is weird. This feels like it's just a loosely related fact. Was the 13th floor based on this, or did we just share this for fun? I guess it must be, because people keep bringing it up. Vincent D'Onofrio said that the theme of the movie was about wanting something that you couldn't have. I guess. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, apparently it's based on Simulacron 3. Also published as Counterfeit World by Daniel F. Galouye. It's an American science fiction novel featuring an early literary description of a simulated reality. It's a story of a virtual city for marketing research developed by a scientist to reduce the need for opinion polls. They have their own consciousness. They're almost unaware. Yeah, it sounds like it's based off of this. Huh. Yeah, things that are this similar. The Matrix. The novel has been adapted several times in other media. Wait, this sentence is so hard to read. The novel has been adapted several times in other media, including as the two-part German television film World on a Wire by Rainer Werner Fassbinder, staying reasonably faithful to Galloy's book. As the film The 13th Floor. Oh, this is like a list. I understand now what's happening. No comment about it being faithful. But I guess it was an official adaptation, I suppose. Oh, it says loosely based on Simulacron 3. Oh, but it is a remake of Fassbinder's miniseries. Huh. So much exposition. I agree. There is a lot of that. That's why I was saying it's not really an action film. There's just sort of people going to places and then talking for a while. And just lots of that. I think the thing that I found the most interesting or compelling in the film was the fact that the simulated people could escape their world if they happen to be in it doesn't quite make sense, because in the film the way they show it is you go in this machine, you're downloaded into the person in the simulation. And I guess your brain is just empty at the time. But then why is it if you die in the simulation, then the simulated version of you gets uploaded? I guess that's just what happens. It sucks your brain back in, or it sucks the you back into your brain, I guess. But if you die in the simulation, then the one who you replaced gets uploaded. It was kind of strange. Yeah, I guess they are already uploaded, yeah, while you're in there. That just seems like bad design. Don't do that part. But apparently, from the way that they showed it in the film, every layer is like that, from the bottom to the top. Because it's that's also how he gets out of his simulation. But I did like thinking about that. I liked that idea of that, like, you could start at the bottom and try to make your way up every level of simulation and just try to keep going. Keep getting on out of there. But the thing is that you have to be lucky enough to be the vessel for whoever's in charge layers above you. I guess it was just convenience that the simulation above them, it was also them in charge of that simulation. So, whatever. Sure. Yeah, we can go over the plot. For any of you who did not do the homework or you're just here, whatever. In 1999, Los Angeles, Hannon Fuller owns a multi-billion-dollar computer enterprise and is the inventor of a newly completed virtual reality simulation of 1937 Los Angeles. And that character is... Where is he? This guy. Nice hat. Ba 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 ba. Filled with simulated humans, unaware that they are computer programs. So when you're watching the film, you start in this layer. This is what you are introduced to. You didn't recognize most of these actors? Wow, that's weird. I feel like most of them were familiar at least. The main guy was not familiar to me, but the old guy, and obviously Vincent D'Onofrio. When Fuller is murdered, just as he begins premature testing of the VR system, his friend and protege Douglas Hall, who is this fellow, Craig Bierko, this guy I'd never seen before. What the fuck? Apparently he's Buzz Lightyear. Live action Buzz Lightyear? What? When did that occur? You didn't Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, I don't know any of this shit. None of it. Ooh, Law and Order, SVU. Wow. The Michael J. Fox Show. Yeah, not a lot that's really familiar to me. There's some what fucking he had a TV show called Bathing with Bierko. Okie dokie. So on Sex in the City. Ally McBeal, 13th Floor. Mad About You, Fear and Loathing. Huh. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Okay, I'm starting to recognize more stuff as we get into the 90s, oddly enough. Red Dwarf? US? What? TV movie? What? Huh? Murphy Brown? Wings? Oh man, this is a tour. Holy fuck. 1973, The Young and the Restless? Sheesh. Holy. Damn. The guy's been at it for fucking forever. I didn't realize. His friend and protege, Douglas Hall, who is also the heir to the company, becomes the primary suspect. The evidence against him is so strong that Hall begins to doubt his own innocence. So that's the setup. And I think that they convey that fairly well. The actor plays it well in terms of, you get the sense that he's sort of like grappling with it and starts off defiant, but kind of migrates into confusion over time and suspicion. In the film, June 21st was a Monday, but IRL it was a Friday. That's weird. Between interrogations by LAPD Detective Larry McBain, Hall meets Jane Fuller, the estranged daughter of Hannon Fuller, who is busy with the shutdown of the new VR system. Hall then romances her. I don't remember that happening. When a local bartender is murdered after he claims to have witnessed a meeting between... This is such a crazy... That's a crazy sentence. Because that's... I don't think that happens in the film. No, he didn't. I mean, their first meeting is like tense, and it remains tense. And then she's basically gone for most of the film in the middle. So this is just not correct. How do I edit Wikipedia? Alexa, how do I edit Wikipedia?
And that's why I don't like the Renaissance Fair.
Flynn, thank you for 93 months. Appreciate you. Detective Bain is the Allstate guy. Is that why? Oh my God. Holy shit. I knew he was familiar. What the fuck? Holy shit, you are right. Holy. There he is. Well, there's the other Allstate guy now.
We've learned that meatloaf and Jenga can be more fun than reservations and box seats.
Huh.
That who's around your TV is more
He does have a
important
good
than
voice,
how big
yeah.
it is. That cars
Well, damn, that's a fun fact. What the hell? Blah, blah, blah. He does not romance her, I will say. When a local bartender is murdered after he claims to have witnessed a meeting between Hall and Fuller on the night Fuller was murdered, Hall is arrested. He is released when Jane gives him an alibi. With the assistance of his associate, Jason Whitney D'Onofrio, Hall attempts to find a message that Fuller left for him inside the simulation. That, I felt, was like him trying to get the message just felt more annoying than anything. Tim, thank you for that gift sub to Dav. I liked when he shoved that guy through the window. Are you talking about 13th floor or something else now? The bartender. The bartender shoved somebody through a window? When was this? Oh, the main guy? Whereabouts was that? Car window. Did I watch this film? First third-ish. Was it in the simulation world here or real world? I think it was real world. When does he meet the bartender? Yeah, I remember he like corners him in a parking garage, right? Yeah, the shakedown. There's her not being romanced. Wikipedia is a lie. It's got to be around here because nobody was like with him or around him, right? I think I'm too early now. Surprisingly hard to find. I was impressed with the sets in the film. Ah, here we are.
Asshole? Huh?
Oh, yeah. Yep. He put him right through that window. It's 40 minutes in. So that's he didn't murder that guy though. But I think he was murdered like near after this. The guy that he was just fighting. So then he gets arrested and blah blah blah. Okay. So Fuller left a message with a bartender named Jerry Ashton D'Onofrio, who read the message and discovered he is an artificial creation. Earlier, Ashton notices that Ferguson has switched places with Hall in the men's restroom of the hotel where Ashton works and began to realize that something was wrong. Frightened and angry, Ashton tries to kill Hall. Hall barely survives to escape the VR. David killed the guy. David killed the guy. Who is David? Who is David? Not that David. Main guy, psycho user. Oh, do they have different names in the simulations? I guess they do, don't they? That is confusing. Okay, so the main character's name is Douglas. Right. Okay, I remember now. Yeah. His user is David. What's his avatar's name? A bank clerk named John Ferguson. It's so... Yeah, David, Douglas, and John. All right. So McBain informs Hall that Jane does not exist, as Fuller never had a daughter. Hall tracks her down, only to discover her double, Natasha Molinaro, working as a grocery store clerk, but Molinaro does not recognize Hall. This leads Hall to perform an experiment. I'm still reeling from this sentence back here. Just reading through this again and like kind of playing the movie back in my mind. The amount of wrong that this is nutty. Because it just doesn't happen. Not till much later, and even then, I don't know that I would describe it as such. I guess there's some imagined romance by the viewer who wrote this. This leads Hall to perform an experiment outside the VR system, something that Fuller's message instructed him to try. Drive to a place where he would never have considered going otherwise. He does so, and discovers a point beyond which the world becomes a crude wireframe model. He tries to get to Shell Beach. Hall grasps the revelation behind Fuller's message. 1999 Los Angeles is itself a simulation. Whoa, it's the twist. They did the twist. Blah. Jane Fuller explains the truth to Hall. His world is one of thousands of virtual worlds, but it is the only one in which one of the occupants has developed a virtual world of their own. Jane Fuller lives in the real world outside. Does she, though? Does she, though? Outside the simulation in the 1990s. Wait, what? What do you mean by that? They're not living in the 1990s. I don't think so. Do they? I don't know that they put a year on it, do they? Why would you phrase it like this, though, Dav? That's so weird. We just got done saying it's 1999 Los Angeles, so I guess they were trying to be specific. They should have said Jane Fuller lives in the real world outside of the Los Angeles simulation. The 1990s Los Angeles simulation. I guess if they're trying to be clear, that would have been better. Oh, 2024. Oh, I think I did watch it before the new year, so I managed to watch it in time. I don't know about y'all. Did you blow it? Oh, when I saw that, I was like, that's nutty that we chose to watch this now. It's also funny how very wrong their prediction was. In some ways, correct, I guess. We do have shit like virtual reality and whatever, but we don't have AI like that. And probably never will. The architecture was nuts as well, yes. It was some sort of utopian world that they couldn't even predict the day of the week. That's good. That's good. I like that. After Fuller's death, she entered the virtual version to assume the guise of Fuller's daughter, gain control of the company, and shut down the simulated 1937 reality. A plan foiled by Hall being made the company heir. The virtual Hall is modeled after David, Jane's real-world husband, though Jane has since fallen in love with Hall. For no reason. David committed the murders via Hall's body, being driven to increasingly jealous and psychopathic behavior from prolonged use of VR to live out his dark fantasies. Yeah, it's really, the romantic aspect in this film is extremely threadbare. It's basically just guy, girl, they're in love. They saw each other, just like real life. Whenever a guy and a girl see each other, it's over. They're in love now. Very threadbare. No, totally. I mean, I said that earlier as well, that like there is the story explanation for why she might be attracted to him, but I still say it feels threadbare. And further, it seems to me like it would make as much or more sense that she would be repulsed, not attracted. I get what you're saying with the sort of nostalgic attraction of, you know, what her husband used to be, just because the guy looks like him and sounds like him. But on the flip side, looking like him and sounding like him would just as likely be repulsive, I feel. But anyway. Whitney. So that's D'Onofrio. Fuck. D'Onofrio's character. Whitney enters the 1937 simulation as Ashton, who has kidnapped Ferguson and bound him in the trunk of his car. When Whitney is killed in a car crash inside the 1937 simulation, Ashton's consciousness takes control of Whitney's body in the 1990 simulation and takes Hall hostage. Hall tells Ashton that he is not in the real world and that they are both products of a VR simulation. Hall takes Ashton to the place where he was born, a computer lab. David assumes control of Hall again to kill Ashton, and then attempts to rape and murder Jane. Jane is rescued by Detective McBain, who shoots and kills David. McBain at this point has realized the nature of his own reality and jokingly asks Jane, "So is somebody going to unplug me now?" She answers no, so McBain follows with the request, "Look, do me a favor. When you get back to wherever it is you come from, just leave us the hell alone down here, okay?" David's death as Hall in the 1990 simulation allows Hall's consciousness to take control of David's body in the real world. He wakes in 2024, connected to a VR system. He disconnects the system and finds Jane and her father, the real Hannon Fuller. Jane wants to tell Hall all about the simulation, and just as she begins, the film ends. The screen image collapses to a thin line of light before going dark, like a computer monitor being turned off. Which, yeah, that would have been a lame conversation to hear anyway. It would have been like, well, we were trying to figure out how to sell more shoes, and we really needed to, run 1 million simulations of people in a realistic environment to determine, what drives them to buy new shoes or whatever. It all would have been some sort of marketing, money making, and apparently that's the book that these various media are based off of was essentially along those lines. Yeah, well, it's an ethical problem, right, Omni? Like, if you come to believe that they are people, then you can't shut them down. This is the thing that Good would not accept because I think we resolved that conversation, but look, I can't forget Good being like, "Co thinks they have souls," which is seared onto my brain. It's just non-overlapping magisteria. A soul is not a quantifiable thing. Uh, at any rate. Is there any other trivia of interest? Oh, whoops! This is Dennis. I was like, enjoys scuba diving. What? This film enjoys scuba diving. While the movie was a box office bomb, its theme song, Join Me in Death, or simply Join Me in the US, by Him, became a worldwide smash hit. This was one of two major motion pictures released in 1999 about a futuristic simulation whose inhabitants believe they're in the real world. The other was The Matrix, released a month earlier. Oh, whoops. The Matrix was fucking huge. I went to see it multiple times myself, but man, people really liked The Matrix. Existence. What do you mean? When did it come out? Also, yeah, it's not listed there in that list. You're right. What about Existenz, IMDb? Well, I think that these are just fucking written by any old dickhead, right? These aren't like researched. This is just random shit that people voted up. Right at the beginning of the film, around 2:10, Fuller Grierson is seen in 1937 timeline tipping a girl with a bunch of $20 notes amounting to around $200. Adjusting for inflation, it would amount to around 4,000 to 4,500 USD in 2024 money. Also, the average weekly salary for a worker in 1937 was about $20 to $30, which makes the tip roughly 1.5 month worth of work. Wow. I'm not sure that that's correct. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, yeah, $200. Never mind. That's right. He was doing things. The Parent's Guide? Is it this? Or this? On IMDb? Where do I find that? Parent's Guide section. Oh, thank you, pubs. Haha. Cool that still doesn't fucking work. I'm actually using DeskFlow at the moment, by the way. You fucked it up. You fucked it up, DeskFlow. Well, let's see. Oh, I can just do parental guide. Parent's Guide. Sex and nudity, mild. Violence and gore, moderate. Profanity, moderate. Alcohol, drugs, and drinking. Drugs and smoking, mild. Frightening and intense scenes, mild. Some light, occasional sexual innuendo. A guy and lady are shown in bed a few times. A guy, lady, get romantic, lovey-dovey kissing, maybe a French kiss or two. A guy and lady dance a bit intimately. A man attempts to rape a woman. She escapes, but as he pushes her to a bed, it's clear that she's not wearing underwear underneath a gown. Extremely quick shot. Okay, Jesus Christ. Violence and gore. Some occasional fistfights and gunfights. A guy shoots another guy. I love the way these are written. They're written like shit. A guy shoots another guy. Some blood spurts. A guy strangles another guy. A lady smashes a guy with a clock. A guy strangles a lady and chases after her. There's occasionally some blood, but nothing real heavy. We see two somewhat bloody bodies, one alive, the other dead in pictures. 13 F words, a few used sexually, and some other lighter adult language. Shit, ass, damn, bitch. But nothing really extreme compared to other extreme hard R-rated films. Don't write it like that. You can't write it like that. That's not how you write that. Oh no. Smoking. Some occasional drinking. There are scenes at bars, nothing really extreme or crude. Some heavily implied smoking. The plot involves people switching bodies in a different time era. One of the guys is a heavy smoker, but when the one guy switches his body, he says he doesn't smoke, which strikes some people. Okay. How did it hit them? But however, when the one guy gets back to reality, he starts smoking. Frightening and intense scenes. 7 of 8 found this mild. The entire film kind of keeps you at the edge of your seat and is a bit tense, especially the last 15 minutes. Really? Have you watched anything? It really isn't too intense, extreme, and nasty, but it's pretty mysterious and suspenseful. Okay. Interesting. So this was a fucking bomb with the critics. Absolutely shit on. And this is what I expected to see here. It's just gonna be a lot of mentions of the Matrix. Some neat ideas are in there, but they drown in melodrama. This would have stood a better chance if it wasn't released in the shadow of the Matrix. As cold and sterile as a piece of machinery. I love reading some of the older reviews because they have weird phrases that people don't really use anymore, like hippy dippy. High tech and hippy dippy philosophies go together about as well as chocolate ice cream and brown mustard. I don't know what you're trying to say, James Sanford of the Kalamazoo Gazette. Rehashes every Star Trek The Next Generation episode where the holodeck goes haywire. Okay. Fucking nerd. Here we go. I loaded a lot, didn't I? Okay. 13th floor tries to be complex but is merely confusing. Is it? Was it? This is a top critic. It's not complex or confusing. It's not hard to follow. I mean, they're constantly telling you what the story of the movie is. It's like all exposition. What were you confused about? A stylish but overplotted, ultimately illogical combination of science fiction, mystery, and romance. Okay. What is illogical about it? Most of the surprises in this intriguing premise are already being used by Existence! Existence mentioned! Yes! Let's go! Existence and the Matrix. This is a film about deeply confused people that seems likely to put viewers in a state of deep confusion for most of its running time. What is up with these people, like, being confused? What are you confused about? Never quite gets off the ground either, since none of its characters, human or simulated, is all that soulful to begin with. Comes off as another fucking nerd. Comes off as little more than a holodeck adventure from an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, only with better production values. What is with these fucking Star Trek nerds who hate this film? This isn't as good as the holodeck. I haven't seen a film in the last 20 years that has such bad lighting and poor choice of film stock. Okay. It might work best as a rental at home with the sound turned off, so the laughable dialogue will not insert itself between you and the movie. Never has a film deteriorated so abruptly and so completely. Sheesh. The 13th Floor is a film school project gone awry. Let down by some mediocre acting, pedestrian dialogue, and slow pacing. I didn't think the acting was that bad. But, I mean, this one's probably about... it's around the mark, I guess. I don't think the actors did bad. Individual moments and ideas come off as far more powerful and memorable than the overall whole. That sounds like a reasonable examination of the film. This is fascinating stuff and would be more so if the actors brought more energy to it. Damn, people shitting on the actors? The 13th Floor is as unlucky as its title regarding lively acting, believable dialogue, and a compelling plot apart from the sci-fi aspects. Okay. Though the film tried, it simply couldn't create too much depth for its characters. An overwrought but underwritten sci-fi item. Dull and disappointing, feels like a bit of a rehash. The fascinating and the mysterious become the silly and occasionally comical. Wildly uneven. This atmospheric and elaborately knotted tale is wrapped in a pretext that is more preposterous than mysterious and not very involving. Roles are underwritten and, especially in D'Onofrio's case, overacted. Wow! D'Onofrio? Get out of here! Fuck you, Desmond. As compelling as a knock-knock joke. Okay. This is genre filmmaking at its most superficially plot-driven, compounding its shallow characterizations with a ridiculous degree of self-importance. Okay, I mean, what? It's just a movie. I mean, I would hope that the movie would take itself seriously. The dialogue isn't aware that it's cliched and hilarious. Okay. Yeah, laugh a minute. The soundtrack thinks it's backing an intense urban thriller. In the post-Dark City, Matrix, Existence cinematic world, it has a decided, been there, done that sensibility. Finally, we have found an enjoyer. Welcome to the Enjoyers Committee, Edward Johnson Ott. And yes, I mean, the 13th Floor, I don't think stands up to any of these films, so there's that. The positive reviews are also unhinged. One of the most beautiful science fiction thrillers ever filmed, and one of the most absorbing. Really? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, fuck, what about like Blade Runner? What about The Fifth Element? What's going on? That's wacky. That's a crazy take. It cleans, yeah, it really has a lot of picking up power. The makers of the 13th Floor never figured out how to build a dramatically intriguing story around the concept. Again, I feel like it is at baseline that. It's not like, it's not amazing, but it's not awful. Fifth Element came out in the 90s at some point. 98 maybe? 97? 97. It's a good flick. Stylish, but slow and stupid. Wow, this is a positive review. The movie takes so much risk that it is a shame that about its only memorable parts are the cinematography and the set decoration. Okay. A 2.5 out of 4. Dude, you can hardly write. Can I do this? Can I do this job? Maybe I could do this job. They probably don't get paid shit. Wild. Wild stuff. You can catch it now on Fandango at home. Or even buy it on Fandango at home. Let's see. Where can we get, I guess, if we want like regular human comments about the film. Let's see what the audience had to say. Oh, you can't sort these or anything? Verified audience. No verified audience reviews. This is a great movie, comma, fantastic actors, comma, great storyline, comma, extremely confused by the critics, comma, I'm seeing this way too often, how the critics bash it, comma, but the audience likes it, comma, one of my favorite movies, comma, please give this sci-fi a chance, the critics are wrong, space, exclamation point. I'm amazed that there's this many reviews. The twists are just ridiculous. We've got another confused person here. What? Too bad, as the theme of VR is a possibility someday. January 27th, 2023. And what does this mean? The theme of VR is a possibility someday. Agreed. I don't understand the complaints that the plot is complex. I don't know if I agree, buddy. This is the type of headfuck film that you need to watch twice. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think you can pretty much absorb everything this film has to offer in one go. It's not a film where if you watch it a second time, you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't even notice that. Hmm? Plagiarized? What are you reading? Who said plagiarism? Primer? Let's get it on there. Also, Demolition Man. 3 Below Justin T. An above average movie that was heavily plagiarized. Was it? Yeah, what is this? What is this accusation? What plagiarized the 13th floor? This is probably a person that doesn't understand like the flow of time and thinks that like the Matrix copied the 13th floor or some other similar-ish film. Better than The Matrix. If you can live with this movie's flaws. Wow. Look. That's incorrect. That's just incorrect. Again, I think it's fine, but it is nowhere near The Matrix. Yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of right about that, Pubs. You could miss a significant chunk of the movie and you're not missing too much. No, yeah, they're not that similar. The core concept is similar. But The Matrix is more detailed, I guess I would say. I was going to say more unique, but I don't think that that's true. I think ultimately they're the same kind of core concept essentially, but the details are drastically different. And I think the execution on those details is what separates them. And yeah, they're different like genre as well altogether. But I'm thinking from the perspective of just fundamentally executing on what they're working with. The Matrix is way more successful at it in that sense than the 13th floor is. Damn. Dab, the movie name enforcer here, doing the Lord's work. The Captain's Log, 9/7/2015. I remember liking this film when it first released. Now, not so much, though. The premise was pretty interesting and I liked the cast, but it just seems slow and mostly dull now. My first dream about VR. Oh, what do we got here? If you didn't like this film, it's because you didn't understand it. Spoiler alert, this film came out the same year as The Matrix, and it dealt with a similar premise. The world isn't what we think it is. But where The Matrix involved physical beings whose minds were controlled by a simulated environment, the 13th floor is about the concept that our entire reality could be nothing more than a computer simulation with no biomass necessary. In 1999, this idea was so preposterous, the plot seemed silly. But 17 years later, influential people like Elon Musk actually believe there is a high likelihood that our own reality is, in fact, a computer simulation. I also feel like screaming. I would first recommend reading the Sentinel paper on the subject by Nick Bostrom, a philosopher from Oxford University, which he published 4 years after this film was released, explaining in significant detail that it is actually possible that our real world isn't real. http://www.simulation-argument.com. Once you've read that paper and really understand the logic behind it, then turn on the 13th floor, sit back, and enjoy a wonderfully crafted cinematic representation of Professor Bostrom's idea. Without an understanding that the science/philosophy in this film could be real, this should be considered a silly B movie, deserving of only a 29% tomato meter score. But if you understand the science and philosophy behind the premise of this film, it's easy to see why it was misunderstood by critics in the 90s, as it was nearly a generation ahead of its time. This is one of the best science fiction movies ever made, because it's possible that it's not fiction. Holy
That's a bigger load than usual.
fucking shit, guy. Holy fuck. Orange Bleat, thank you for 15 months. Hey, Coes, supremely enjoying your mostly blind playthroughs of Silent Hill 2. True. Thank you for being so very genuine with, or genuine when playing it, and many other games. Fantastic streams. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do my my level middle. Oh my God, you've got a Wikipedia article that has a hashtag 1996 email incident? Oh boy. I sure wish I could copy paste across computers right now. Fine. In January 2023, Bostrom issued an apology for a 1996 listserv email he sent as a postgrad. Oh, I'm not going to read any more of this, actually. I'm going to just stop reading that right now.
Why?
Yeah,
Where?
I've stopped. I read ahead, thankfully. I'm going to go ahead and close it, too. Oh, just some racism.
Oh.
Just some overt racism from the simulation argument guy.
Ah. Eugenics?
I don't know. I didn't read enough to find out, but it was a scandal that he had to apologize for, because apparently back in '96 he wrote an email.
Ah.
And we got to that because there was somebody here who wrote their review of the 13th floor, and it's completely unhinged. They're talking of basically they're like making the I don't know. They're trying to make the case that it's this genius, incredible film because it might be real. Because they believe in this shit that this guy wrote. No, just me. This could also be known as the shit that I won't even force Nakomi to watch committee.
Yeah, we have like 3 categories. So there's the stuff that's like really shit that he won't even try to get me to watch.
Yeah.
And then there's like the stuff that he'll ask me to watch, and depending on how I feel, I may or may not. And then there's the actual stuff that we enjoy together.
I almost was going to try to make her watch Twin Peaks, and then I talked myself out of it.
Increasingly.
Yeah.
Like, this is over multiple days, and he's like, you know what? I really don't want you to watch it now. I was like, I might, depending on when. He's like, no. You shouldn't watch it. And I was like, but wasn't there some good things? No. You should just not watch it ever.
I mean, he is wrong, but basically he's making a very thin distinction here where he's like, it's a similar premise, but the Matrix involved physical beings whose minds were controlled by a simulated environment. Like, he's just like drawing this really, really thin distinction between the two films. What if the Matrix had a Matrix in it? I mean, literally, that's the only difference. I love that we found that one.
You know what doesn't make sense about the Matrix, though?
What? Lots of things, probably.
Well, if humans were just being mined for, like, their... Like, basically, they could just cut off the brain entirely. Like, that's not really necessary to make, like, a fake world for our heads to live in. Like, they could just lobotomize everybody. It would essentially work the same.
Yeah, but then you don't have a film.
I know.
That's one of those things. You do that one a lot, I feel, where it's like,
I add logic.
yeah, and then the film goes away. And it's like, I agree, but they're not going to, like, when they're sitting around doing it, they're not going to be like, actually, this part doesn't make sense. All right, everybody, pack it up. Burn the script.
I'm not saying that. It's just, I just thought of that right now, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
No, I mean,
the whole movie doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I don't disagree that, like, how are the people batteries? What power are they getting from people's bodies that is so...
Maybe just everything runs on shit and piss. Like,
Yeah.
just...
I mean, we're a waste of resources. Get rid of us and then just fucking mine the earth. Just mine the earth. If it was just the robots, they could power themselves off of nuclear material for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And they could go to space then. I mean, like, the premise is faulty in that way. But, I mean, I'm okay with it not being... Like, I'm okay with there being, like, contrivances like that. Like, what if that's just how the AI developed? Maybe it's a stupid AI. It couldn't figure out how to power itself better than squeezing the juice out of humans. I don't know.
Okay.
But it works, it works well enough for me.
The weird thing about the whole cum stuff is, so they're making babies, right? So that means they have to extract cum. Do they take it, just like inject it out of the balls? or do they actually like simulate jacking off with the machine? And then do they change the tube that takes the piss away to a cum one?
I mean, they're machines. They could sort it out somehow.
I'm just saying, like, it's
They're different viscosities, so you could like spin them apart later. I wonder if there's a machine for that. The cum and piss spinner.
because technically the babies weren't growing in bodies, so like the women weren't getting pregnant.
The original plot was humans being used for processing power, not energy. Executives meddled because they didn't think audience would understand. It's very weird to hear stuff like that because it's like such a
That actually,
if you just change that, if you just think about the Matrix and you just change it to that,
it makes sense.
like the film doesn't change. Really. Like, okay, yeah, they're using us for computer power. And that actually would make it make
that makes
your
sense.
idea make sense, essentially, like because yeah, we don't know what the computing power of a brain really is. Hypothetically, it must be seemingly a lot, but then again, it's not good at math.
I mean,
Not the way computers are.
no.
Not the way computers are. We don't need our brains for math. We're good at like one specific thing that computers cannot do, and that's just sort of like open-ended free-form thought.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that free will might be an illusion. It might be an illusion. We're deterministic machines, Bun. You didn't really choose to jump up here and act like a little freak. You were always going to do that. It's
your
in
destiny.
your DNA. All right. Take this little weirdo.
I don't want to. I have to go feed them.
Oh, gosh, yeah, look at the time.
I just came in here to tell you that, and then I got distracted.
Where's that half-star review?
Where
Oh,
you
here it is. No, there was another one. This doesn't look that interesting, to be honest. Let me see.
You want to go get that cat? You want to go get
That one seems boring. There was another one I saw that was defensive,
Go get that cat.
and I wanted to read that one. That stuff's more compelling to me. Where was it? Shit. Huh? Oh, okay. Damn it. There was one that looked like it was going to be really good. Here we go. Wait, what? Oh, I was hoping it was going to be longer. A 4.5 out of 10. Audience score 64%. I'm sorry, but who is rating these movies? I give this movie a 9 out of 10, if not more. Completely love the premise, the science behind it, the actors and the storyline. The science behind it. Totally encourage others to watch it. Was such a great movie. I had to come here and write about it. Now I'm looking for movies like it. Some people said it was confusing or not good enough. Well, you people are sad. Very sad. This movie was great. Loved it. Oh, God. This movie is too smart for its own good. That explains lots of negative reviews. If you're familiar with simulated reality theory, reality could be simulated, and that... I mean, it's in the fucking words, guy. It's right there. Reality could be simulated, and that may contain conscious minds, which may or may not aware of the simulation. This movie is a real gem, a must-see for sci-fi fan. But you can hardly write. Maybe you should stop with the movies and start with the literacy. God damn, man! I didn't expect there to be these guys. There's like simulation theory chuds in here. I'm gonna slap the load more a few times, and then I'm gonna see if we can find another. Let me do a little searcherino. All right. Theory. One of 3 matches. Damn. I find simulation theory fascinating, and this is a reasonable stab at presenting that idea in a fictional narrative. What was the racist guy's name? I wonder if he gets mentioned. Simulation's not going to be probably very good. One of the finest sci-fi films raises the question, is reality just a simulation? This is somebody who's just never seen anything else. Absolutely wonderful and unique movie. I mean, the most notable thing about the film is that it was destroyed by the Matrix that came out before it. Fantastic story and idea about game simulation. Reality is not what it seems to be. And people whom you think you know might be sometimes completely different people. For a 1999 year movie, this is completely marvelous and from the future. This is why LLMs are the way they are. Either that or LLMs are older than we think they are. Oh, yeah. Let's see if Bostrom brings up any more freaks. Nah, just this one dickhead. It's crazy how there are these sort of like chud dudes that are just always the same. You know? Wherever they appear, it's the same fucking guy. Wait, what was that one? Shit, I lost it. There's a funny one. Fuck. If Y humans can create Z humans, it raises the question, weren't Y humans created by a higher level X humans? I think that is completely valid question. How did I miss that? This is my favorite type of movie. Virtual reality meets waking conscious. I like these movies because I believe they can possibly fuel our creative minds enough to where this type of scenario might be available to us in our lifetime. Furthering technology that we have now, like the amazing 3D IMAX experiences and the partially immersible 3D social worlds like the Second Life computer program might have us having a bunch of having brunch with our international friends or attending live concerts halfway across the globe without ever having to leave our living room in the possible near future. I mean, you were not wrong, person. Mostly. I mean, we have VR and Fortnite. Yeah, Fortnite. Uh, huh? Also, for all of you commenting on similarities with the Matrix, sorry, have in mind that this movie was filmed and released before part 1 of the Matrix trilogy. Okay, now let's see here. May 28th, 1999. Apparently April 16th, 1999 in Denmark? March 24th, 1999. March 31st, 1999. April 8th, 1999. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this person. Huh. During the first third of the film, I kept hoping that this would be the one time that the characters would become lost in a confused deepening of realities, each one leading into another, like the hackneyed layers of the onion. Usually I don't get my way, like in The Matrix when I wanted Zion to be nothing more than another Matrix, to have Neo awake in some brand new space, something completely foreign to him and to us. I kept expecting to be disappointed because this film had gotten such poor reviews, but about halfway through I realized why I never bothered listening to reviews in the first place. I regret not having seen this sooner, but I probably needed to wait a while for it to leave its full effect on me. I think the only reason this film probably wasn't more successful was the close proximity it had to The Matrix. The plot lines were a tad too similar, and while The Matrix explored the nature of reality in a bold new action-packed manner, the 13th Floor did it in the manner of a thriller. It is a shame because this could have led to more starring roles for Craig Bierko. Well, have you seen Burko in, or Bathing with Burko or whatever the fuck? The quite affable lead of the film, and maybe more supporting roles for Steve Shub, one of my all-time favorites.
They helped themselves to a cup of decaf coffee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Normally they don't fuck with it, but they spilled it all over the couch.
Oh, great.
And I don't have any more clean slip covers, so
Great.
I think we should just chill in the bedroom tonight.
I'm down.
I'll fix it tomorrow.
That's fine. Yeah, I was gonna say this dude must have fucking loved Inception. Also, I don't think this is like, first of all, I don't even understand what you meant by saying like the hackneyed layers of the onion. Hackneyed means like tired out and like overused and cliche, right? Are you guess like you're saying that the phrase you're about to use is hackneyed, I suppose? And further, like there were other films that did what you're talking about before The Matrix and The 13th Floor, so I don't understand what you're talking about, buddy. This movie sucks. I guess I've gone too far back now. We're not getting
Nothing
any
bad has
chuds.
happened.
Oh, something bad just
I'm
happened.
gonna take this.
Okay. I'll be along.
Okay.
Kit, thank you for 76 months. Our donut hole is a much smaller donut, within which another smaller donut hole exists. Oh, well, I do need to wrap things up here, but this has been fun. This was an interesting little tour. Let's just see if there's anything interesting down here. Blah, blah, blah. It grossed 11.9 million in North America, 18.5 million worldwide. Woof. And what was the budget? 16 million. So they made 2 million. The website's consensus reads, bad script and confusing plot. It's not confusing. Undermine the movie's impressive visuals. I I don't think that the visuals were that impressive, personally. The whole film kind of suffers from that late 90s, early 2000s, like crunched colors thing that everybody was doing. And I was never really a fan of that. I felt like it made just everything look kind of shit. The sets were impressive. I agree with that. Yeah. Philosopher Slavoj, I can't say that name, Zizek, called the film much better than The Matrix. Citation needed. It was nominated for a Saturn Award in the Best Science Fiction Film category. Yeah. Let's go. Existence. Actually, it has more in common, really, with Existence than The Matrix, because they are essentially the same film. The only trouble is Existence is way better. I wonder. I wonder how they compare here. Oh my god, I'm so far down here. Oh, there was a button, but it's fine. Okay, so the 13th floor, 28 and 64. Oh my god. Existence. 28, 64 reviews, 64, 25,000 plus ratings. Yo. Let's go. I know. I just, whatever. Oh, now I want to read, because we didn't really do a full Enjoyers Committee meeting on Existence. And now I have to go. God damn it. I'm so curious what the reviews look like in here. Fuck it. Yeah, another time. We'll do an addendum on Existence when I have more time. We will have another convening of the Enjoyers Committee. We need to pick what our next film's going to be. What is the list? Where is the list? It's probably in movies and TV. Did we pin it or anything? Ah, shit. I need to find and pin that. Aha. I have found... No, I haven't. Fuck it. Oh, I have found it. I found Dav's post. I am going to pin Dav's post. You seem to be having some formatting issues, Dav, in that post. You might want to tweak that. But thank you for maintaining that that post. I've pinned it to the movies and TV channel. So our list right now of ones that we want to do are Dark City, Videodrome, 80s Dune, City of Lost Children, Alien 4, Name of the Rose, Virtuosity, Lawnmower Man, Jacob's Ladder, Chernobyl Diaries, Primer, and Demolition Man. I think all of these are fine to be on the list, to be honest. Oh, you're grouping them. I see. Okay. But yeah, what Dark City? I see a couple mentions of Dark City. You guys want to do that one? I already watched it the other day, but I'm definitely down to talk about it because that was a new movie for me, and I'm excited to discuss it with you guys. So we will meet again in a month. You have a month to do the homework. Go find and watch Dark City, and yeah. We need to pick a day. Oh, we should. Well, no, let's not do Valentine's Day because I'm probably going to do something with Nakomi. I was going to say we need a special day again because today, this was the full moon. February 12th, done. Next full moon, February the 12th. The next convening of the Enjoyers Committee, February 12th, full moon, Dark City. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining me and participating in this weird thing that we're doing. It's a movie club, right? It's fun, though. I think this is fun. I'm looking forward to doing it again. And tomorrow I think we're going to be continuing Silent Hill 2. You guys seem to be into the idea of at least getting the 5 stack of endings. And I'm going to try to smash through the game quickly so we can get to those 5 endings. The other 2, I don't know about, man. I don't know. It's going to be 2 more entire runs for those. But the 5 stack, I think I'd really like to do. So we'll be continuing that starting tomorrow. Until then, have a beautiful night. See y'all next stream.